Hello, welcome back to my channel. I have a short video planned, hopefully a short video. I am looking at a couple of things on this blueberry that I just planted not too long ago. Repotted it after its winter hibernation. So there's some branches here that I want to take off because I think they're drawing too much energy from the tree, and I would rather that energy be directed toward the branches that are really going to matter. This thing leafed out incredibly fast. It still has leaves from last year on it that it hasn't completely shed. So I don't think I'll hurt it by removing really see only maybe 2 or 3 of these longer bits that from all the multi-trunks that I have down there. They're the ones that are least likely to going to be something I'm going to use. So let me back up this camera. There we go. So this is the blueberry. And I'm going to say this is probably my front. If I can get in a little closer. I'm going to say this is my front right here. It's got kind of a wide base of multi-trunks. This branch over here is really low, but it's got a nicely aged base to this trunk here. I'm hanging on to that for now. I'd like to create a bit of a wider flare on the bottom of this Nabari. So on this side here, I have a branch that's attached very low. It's right down here. I'm going to use that to thicken this area and encourage maybe some roots to grow down there. So I tag this branch as a sacrifice branch. I tend to forget about my sacrifice branches and then accidentally take them off, not remembering why I had them. So I put a little tag on this branch to remind me, don't take this one off until I've thoroughly gotten the result that I wanted down here at the base where it kind of tucks in. I'd like a little more thickness here, like I have on this side. When I get into here, the center area, I've got a trunk to this left side. It's woody. It's got some movement in it. This one right here. I think I can train it into a little bit of a more advantageous position. This one here, I had tagged earlier because I was like, I don't know, that's right in the middle of this whole thing. It's kind of stiff, it's kind of straight. I think I can do better than having this particular branch. Then I come around to this one right here, which I was going to keep as a sacrificial, but it's up here, and it's going to make a weird bulge here. And I'm not sure that's going to help me. So I may take this skinny one here off. It has been held up this way. It connects to this branch here. This branch here, or trunk, if you want to call it that, comes down and is in the middle of a fork. Each of the forked sections have nice movement back and forth from the alternating buds, and this one's kind of thicker and is going to make them weaker, I feel. If I leave it, this will become too dominant. So I'm going to remove this one and this one, the two that are attached here, and probably this one, because then as I come around toward the back of this grouping, I've got a branch here, nice thick base, makes a nice background and can possibly curl around toward the front after I remove this Navarre sacrifice. I have another nice branch set here that also has a thick woody trunk. Let's see if I can show you. Right here with multiple branches coming off. And I think that those two, this section and this section, I leave for now because I think they give me more opportunities to fill in the back side of the clump with this as the front. This Navarre eventually gone, this one here gone, this one, and this one. I think I'm going to use my regular. I also got these skinnier ones compared to the usual one. These are a little narrower, nice for fitting into narrow spots, but they're both the same regular angle pruners. So I'm going to take my markers off this one. I'm decided that it's going to get trimmed. I'm not quite sure how blueberry dies back, so I am going to leave a bit of a stump at the moment. The next one is this one here. It's coming out forward. It's rather rigid. I mean, I could bend it, but I don't think it's anything I want. So I'm going to take that out. And then come in between this Navarre that I'm saving. I'm going to take this little buddy out there too. I have to use the narrow ones for that. A little bit. I'm going to leave a stump again. I'm not sure what happens with this one. I'm going to have to see. So those are the three main ones that I wanted to get out. This will eventually be gone. And then I can take a look at this here becoming the new leader of this trunk, or possibly this one, depending on what I want to do with this. And bringing this one forward. Not necessarily forward, but more upright. Possibly this one, maybe that one off to that side, this one up here. Not a bad looking clump for the first clump I've ever done. We're going to leave it at that. Once I seal off these stumps, then I'll see how they die back and then decide whether I'm going to help them along or just let them naturally die off. And then I'll take a little more looking at this tree and decide if let it build up some energy in the meantime, but then I can decide if I need to wire anybody into a better position. So that's the blueberry in progress. It's got a lot of new leaves. It's looking good. The next one I want to take a look at is my pomegranate. This tree has some issues with its trunk and primary branches. It's never been well proportioned in the entire time that I've had it. And I've never been able to get it better, but it does look a little better simply now because it's so much older that this trunk has thickened and the weird bends that it had are becoming a little more just aged looking. Let's see how far back I can get. Okay, this tree doesn't really have a front. If there were a front, it's possibly somewhere around there. It's got a nice branch set here. This branch is great. Comes out at a nice angle. I like the proportion of it. It's got some taper and I can work on extra lower branches there if I wanted to. What happens here is this trunk comes up and it's thick. It's as thick as the trunk down here. There is not really much taper all the way up here to here. And then we have a group of 1, 2, 3, very nearly 4 branches, all coming out of the same location. Let's see if I can show this. Looking more towards the top of the tree. This thickness, which kind of has a center branch that has a nice bit of movement in it, even though it's thick. Another branch to this side that doesn't really have much movement. It's kind of bulgy and weird. And then the one on this side is also long and thick with not much taper. This center one actually does have some taper. And this branch over here might be okay. This branch here has a weird bend that arcs. It arcs up and over from here, up and over, and then this branch grows right near it, but it has a better position. So what do I do with this tree? Can I back it up a little more so you can see the whole thing? That's the whole tree. Now I can keep this nice low branch and this branch over here. Which would leave me with that. And I'd have to grow something completely new on this side. I take off all this excess and leave it with just that. I don't really like that idea. My other option would be to take it off and leave this branch set here. would remove all of that. If I do it with white paper, the first one would be just that left. The second one would be with this left. The third one would be to remove this one. And possibly also this one, but I would need more paper. It would leave it like that. I wish my arm was not in the way. No, probably not. We'll leave it like that. This is kind of the route that I think I may be going. Anybody who wants to put any comments, please do. I would love to know what other people think, especially if you have experience with pomegranates. I'm not sure what cutting off these kind of branches would be as a loss to the tree at this age. All I can do is try to give it a little better shape. And these branches are just getting so heavy and thick that they are the size of the tree, and I don't know how I'll ever get taper if I don't try this. So I think that that's what I'm going to do. But I'm not going to cut this tree yet. I'd like to see some comments from people as to which version they think would be the best. 1, 2, or 3. This being 3. This one being 2. And this one being 1, which is pretty severe. You can see that. Plus, I want to, this tree struggled a little last year, and I want to get it really, let it have leaves on top and everything so it can get some good nutrients into it. Get fed, get some good growth, and then when it's had its full flush out and everything else, then I'll worry about cutting off these major branches. But I want to get the most out of the first set of leaves as I can, because a lot of times once this goes outside, even when if the weather is mild, it'll still probably like go into shock and lose all these leaves and have to grow new leaves. So the more energy that it could store, the better off it will be. I've already begun putting organic fertilizer in. Use BioGold, and it's about the time to start doing that again. I can see it's discoloring the surface a little, but at this point I don't care. I have enough trouble remembering to fertilize my trees, so I'm trying to be a little more diligent about it this year because I want to get good results with these trees I've had for so long that I really would like to see better progress on. So that's these two trees, and I'm going to bring in a couple of little introductions of a few things that are going to be coming down the pike once the weather gets better. Okay, I thought I would show off some of the cuttings that I had taken. Over the years, I've never had very good luck with cuttings, but these ones have all done well this year, or from last year. This one right here is a little cutting of a redwood, one of my Dawn Redwood trims. I stuck it in here. It's got buds. First time for that for me. And this one also has buds, and I need 2 to go into my forest. So if I don't come across any for sale anywhere, at least I have 2 that are growing and will be able to join the other redwoods in my forest planting when they're a little bigger. And I'm needing I have large size ones. I'm looking for smaller, skinnier ones. So hopefully these little guys will be able to do it. They're so tiny right now. This one was a larger cutting from one of the redwoods that I didn't quite think was going to take. It's pretty thick, I thought, at the base here. You know, that's pretty wide. But it has. It's got buds. At least this side's alive, and this side does have buds. I'm not sure if they're alive or dead. But I think that's kind of a cool little trunk to start with. It's got a cut off area that's scarring over from its past as a part of one of the other trees. This one will not probably go into the forest. This will probably be a single trunk bonsai. We shall see what will happen. It'll be the all my redwoods were in a forest planting, so it'd be nice to see something a little more informal, upright to do with this one. This is a little wild elm that just ended up in one of my pots one year and survived and survived, whether I brought it in with the others or whether I left it outside in the cold and the snow. And it had a thicker trunk at one time. It died back. It's got this weird big long root that I haven't done anything about yet. I just kind of like the way it looks right now. There it is. And a weird little hollow here. I used a bit of wire to bend this branch off this way. I may end up removing it and doing just that. That is pretty. But I do have a tendency to like a big long branch, like a road tree. But this looks pretty nice, so I don't know. I wouldn't like a bulge to build here. I would trim that off maybe, or let it curve up to this place here. Then this one had a bunch of leaders last year, just grown off shoots in every direction. And I took them all and I put them in this pot, which is really mostly some lava rock, black and red, large chunks and small, some random aquarium gravel, and there may be some pumice down in here somewhere. I made it like a little grove. This is the grove, one of the grove designs that I was going to work with, and these are all elms, and I'm pretty happy that they all took root. We have 5 growing in here. There's some other thing growing in here. I'm not sure what that is. I had stuck this stone in here because it was hoping to keep these two in a certain position. I think it was holding this root down for this tree. Nice little piece of labradorite. Looks kind of shiny and cool. So these I'm just kind of also letting grow. I'm not even sure I'm going to do anything with them. I may, depending on once they get into the light outside, if they straighten themselves out. Otherwise, I may just try to bring them up into a nice dancing group of elms, which would be pretty awesome. So that's where it is right now. It's really a starter. This is like my first time building my own little forest type planting. Elms, I have no idea what type of elm this is, by the way, because it came from this, and this was wild. I don't know whether it's a native tree. I don't think it's a Native American elm anyways. The leaves are really small. But what kind of elm it is, not sure. Probably something someone has grown wild on their property. But this one is special. I really like it. He's my little wild child. And he is the father or creator of this grove of trees here. I'm not really sure what's growing in here. Something with little teeny tiny unfurling. I don't know if it's a weed. I'll let it grow and see what happens. So that's all I have for today. These are just future projects that I'll be doing videos on once the weather gets good enough and they can do some growing. Just none of these are getting repotted. They're all going to stay in the same pots. They're just going to get fertilized, taken care of, allowed to grow, and depending on their growth, some shaping. So thanks for coming to visit me in my grove today, and I'll see you for the next video. Thanks.